बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी गिरिमरधारी जय गोपी गिरिमरधारी यशोधनंदन व्रज जनंदन यशोधनंदन व्रज जनंदन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद् डिवाइन ग्रेस एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ISKCON founder Acharya, BBT founder Acharya, savior of the whole world, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada की जय। नामाचार्य श्रीला हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Sham Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai. Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Mayapur Navadvip Dham ki jai. Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai. Dwarkapuri Dham ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Yamuna Mai ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Tulasi Devi ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrind ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Mahayagna ki jai. Shri Shri Gaur Nithai ki jai. Nithai Gaur Sitanath Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Shri Shri Jagannath Baldev Shubhadra Sudarshan ki jai. Shri Shri Panch Tattva ki jai. Shri Lakshmi Narasimhadev Bhagwan ki jai. Nithai Gaur Sitanath Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories and glories and glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, the chant.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Yes, joined and they are joining still, Mataji, but we can start, Mataji.
Pardon?
We can start, Mataji, if it is okay.
Om Ajnanatamidam Sri Gurave Namah. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shimte Jaypatak Swamanite Namni. Namachari Padaya Nitaya Kripa Pradani Gorakata Damdaya Nagagram Tarni. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamanite Namni. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharni Nirvisesh Sunyavadi Paschat Deshtarni. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shvasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today we're going to see, I mean, it's very interesting and very special that today is Vasanta Panchami, which is the day of Saraswati Puja. Okay, Saraswati, they worship in this festival, they worship Saraswati Devi, who is the goddess of knowledge. And today we're going to discuss about the importance of learning our Shastras, right? So we take shelter of Saraswati Devi to give us some wisdom. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. So, as devotees, we've been given, the most important things, what we should do for to progress in our devotional life, in developing our relationship with Krishna. So the first thing, of course, in nectar of devotion is to take shelter of a spiritual master, and then to live in a holy place, and then to study the Srimad Bhagavatam, association with devotees and deity worship. 5 very, very important items. And out of this, of course, we know in taking shelter of Guru means that the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra is included in that. The chanting is the most important thing. And we saw that. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that's why what knowledge he has given us is condensed it in the Shikshashtakam. Because that's the most important thing in our lives, is to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So he himself only spoke about that, and all the knowledge which, in order to chant properly and to have faith in that holy name and to re-establish our relationship with Krishna, we need to have some knowledge, because otherwise we'll keep doubting. We'll wonder, well, what is the need to chant so much? Little bit is enough. So many things. Or we may even doubt the, the potency of chanting. What's the power of chanting? And who's this person that we are glorifying? What is his greatness? All these things, unless we know it very scientifically, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave it to Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. And he asked them to write. But he himself gave us just the nectar of chanting the holy name, which is actually the final thing which is going to save us from all. Even for living in this material world happily and going back to Godhead, we are totally dependent on the holy name. Now, but there is also, the scriptures are also which have come for Kali Yuga to help us. And we see that, when the Kali was approaching, in the beginning of Kali, then all the sages, they assembled together in the Naimisaranya forest. And they thought that, now Krishna is going to be leaving. Actually, they assembled even when Krishna himself was here. The people were very concerned. Like even Narada Muni, we know he got very disturbed. He went and asked Krishna, what will happen to all the people once you leave? So everybody's concern was that. And all the sages, they decided that we should do some yajna or something, because it's only through yajna or performance of sacrifice that our life gets purified and all good things happen. So the people of Kali are not going to be doing all that. So let us do sacrifice for their benefit, and then so that they will be, they will be protected from the evil effects of Kali. So they gathered together, and we know that they wanted to actually perform yajna, which is normally yajna means people think of fire sacrifice. So they were doing this fire sacrifice, but they found that only smoke was coming out. Either they were not chanting mantras properly, or the ingredients were not good enough, because Kali had already started. And so they gave it up. And then instead, they thought that let us hear all, the knowledge about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Let us discuss that. That's the most purifying thing. And so they first put Roma Harshana. They chose him because he was very well versed in the Shastras and all that, to explain to them. And while he was sitting in the Vyasasana and discussing, we know that Balramji came there and everybody got up. They were so happy. What an auspicious moment. They started this sacrifice and Balramji has come. So everybody paid obeisances, except this Roma Harshana became a little puffed up, because he thought, I'm giving class, so I don't need to get up. And he was just sitting on the Vyasasana. So that shows a lack of humility. And unless one becomes humble, one cannot understand the Shastras perfectly. And so Balramji just killed him with just, grass. He just put a blade of grass, he put it on him, and he just finished him off. So one may think, why did Balramji do such a heavy, a punishment for this? Because Balramji, otherwise he's so very tolerant, also merciful. But because the whole world depended on this knowledge, what was going to be spoken here. And so he wanted a proper person. That's why he just, and anyway, killed by God means he will go back to Godhead. So that's not a problem for him. But knowledge has to be very pure. So the person who speaks it also, they chose Suta Goswami, his son, who had also heard this Srimad Bhagavatam directly from Sukadeva Goswami when he was telling Parikshit Maharaj. So we are going to see how this knowledge, what is it? In the beginning of Kali, they got together, and why this is so important, and why studying the Srimad Bhagavatam. With the 4 books which are, primary for us in the beginning, one is Bhagavad-Gita. We have to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, Isopanishad, Nectar of Devotion, and Nectar of Instruction. These books are very, very important, because we'll see the value of each book, what kind of knowledge it gives, how it helps us to progress in our spiritual life. So Srimad Bhagavatam there's no difference between the Lord and Srimad Bhagavatam, or his glories and Krishna himself. So that is why when they were hearing this Srimad Bhagavatam, they were, and then Sutta Goswami, they inquired. We'll just go through this, the translations, and you'll understand how the Srimad Bhagavatam is giving the same message as the Bhagavad-Gita. All the scriptures are sort of complementing each other in order to give us the most valuable of messages so that we can make our lives successful. And so, the glory of Srimad Bhagavatam, completely rejecting. So normally, our Shastras, we know there is Vedas and the Upanishads, and then the Upasana Kanta, where all devotional things for the Devatas are mentioned. So all these things are, still don't touch about devotional service at all. And then you have the Puranas, which are not Vedas, but Smritis. And in the Puranas also, among the 18 Puranas, all others are, just dealing with Sakama Karma. Sakama Bhakti. That means devotion to God. I mean, only 6 of them talk about devotion to Narayana. The other 12 are, in the mode of passion and ignorance. So they glorify Aditikeya, like that, Devi. Only 6 are about Lord Krishna or Narayana. And in that also, all the others, other than Bhagavatam, is talking only about Sakama Bhakti. That means mixed with material desires. So they're worshipping the Lord, but then it is, a little bit, it's a very karma kanda kind of thing. So Vyasadeva, after writing all this also, he was very dissatisfied. And we know that it's because, so this Bhagavatam is the cream of all literature. And we are so fortunate that, Prabhupada has given us just the cream, the essence of all literature is all packaged for us. Just we have to take it. In earlier times, it was not like that. A person has to be searching for a guru, proper guru. He doesn't know. And then he wanders looking for different kinds of gurus who are well-versed in different kinds of scriptures. And finally, if he is fortunate, he comes across a pure devotee, which is very, very rare. On the other hand, even before meeting Srila Prabhupada, so many of his disciples, they were wandering around looking for gurus. So many different types of, they tried jnana, karma, yoga, find cult normally. And only by the mercy of Prabhupada, all this is given to us very nicely packaged. We don't have the time or the inclination to hunt around like that. So the Srimad Bhagavatam, especially with beautiful, first of all, Bhagavatam itself has been wonderfully composed by Vyasadeva in his mature realization. And it has been very nicely, the purports are excellent, by which, we will feel a surge of positivity, a surge of faith and enthusiasm to go on in life, because Kali Yuga otherwise is quite depressing. If you see materially, Kali Yuga is a time when people's qualities are very, very low. You just cannot trust anyone, right? You think, oh, this person is very good, that person, and then you're let down. And, it's a age of quarrel and hypocrisy, because people are interested only in superficial things. And so they just pretend everything is hypocrisy and quarrel, because everyone wants his own thing and, trying to grab. And so there's all the time, if you just see Kali Yuga and so many difficult problems, Adi Devika, Adi Bhautika, Adhyatmika, all kinds of problems. So Kali Yuga, Kali Doshe Nide Rajan. It's a ocean of doshas. Asti Ekad Mahad Guna. only one wonderful quality is there, and that is Kirtaniya eva Krishnasya mukta sangha param prajet. So all the positive, bright, this thing, news about Kali Yuga is that simply by chanting the holy name, we can get all perfection. We can be free from all miseries. That is the wonderful message that is a positive thing of Kali Yuga. So actually, Krishna always gives a silver lining in all the clouds, right? Whenever we see something depressing, something dark, something, not so very, we feel that materially it's quite not very nice, and so much of difficulties and problems. But you should always look for the silver lining. There is always a silver lining, something positive. And that positivity comes from spirituality. That is the only thing, that whenever Krishna gives some problems, it is to heighten our awareness about our spiritual self and take shelter of him. That's the purpose. And that is what will make us very, very positive and full of enthusiasm and full of hope and full of faith and energy, everything because of this. Otherwise, if you just think of Kali Yuga, oh, forget it. Most people are taking to intoxicants because of that. They want to forget the misery. But the devotees who take shelter of the holy name, who take shelter of all this wonderful literature, they are very, very happy and positive because they've got Krishna. And anything that happens in our life is simply Krishna, especially for a devotee. Krishna is just taking us closer and closer to him, which is the source of all auspiciousness. So now we'll see just through these verses how glorious Bhagavatam is. And then we'll fall in love with this Bhagavatam, and we want to read it every day. When you start reading, you'll not be able to put it down. And you'll think that, oh my God, oh, I have other works to do. And then you'll have to keep down the book, right? Like reading some novel or something, right? People like to read fiction, or they watch a film, and then they can't stop it. And they can't stop it. Like that Bhagavatam will attract us so much that we can't stop reading it. Oh, I have to stop it today. It should become like that. It's so interesting. So completely. So this is text 2. First one is, of course, what is the Bhagavatam about? It is all about, oh my Lord Krishna, Sri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, oh all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna. Why? Because he's the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. So that, first of all, we have to take shelter of Krishna because he's the absolute truth and he's the cause of all causes. And everything that we see in the material world, creation, maintenance, and destruction, everything, he's the cause. He's directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations. And he's independent because there is no cause beyond him. So he's aware of everything. Just imagine, Krishna is conscious directly when he sees, and indirectly also is aware. We may think that, Krishna is far away, he may not know, but he's aware right now that we're talking about, discussing about Krishna. He's aware of that. Just think about it. Krishna he's aware, he's listening. Oh, all these devotees are gathered to discuss about me. He's very happy. So, and it is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being, by him. So all this knowledge, Brahmaji was all alone. He was created. And how did he get all the knowledge? Because Krishna just, played with his flute, and then the Brahma Gayatri entered his ears, and all knowledge manifested within his heart. So he's the source of all knowledge. It's all coming from Krishna. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen in fire or land seen on water. So illusion is so powerful that even great sages are placed into illusion, and demigods. So that's why we should not be very proud that, oh, I'll never fall into Maya. No, even great sages and demigods are placed into illusion. Once, Prabhupada was praying to Krishna, and when devotee asked him, Prabhupada, what are you praying to Krishna for? And you don't ask such questions to your guru. But anyway, he found that this devotee was very innocent and she just wanted to ask. So just curious what you must pray for or whatever. So Prabhupada said, I'm praying, oh Krishna, and please give me shelter at your lotus feet so that I may never fall into Maya. So Prabhupada very humbly, he was praying like that and also giving us an example, like a lesson that this is what we should be praying to Krishna for. Please let me never forget you. Let me always take shelter of you, because anyone up to the greatest of sages but by taking shelter of Krishna, we can be fully protected. Only if you're humble and we always take shelter of Krishna in a helpless way, then we'll always be protected. Only because of him do the material universe is temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature appear factual, although they are unreal. This material, it's temporary, and it is just a make-believe world for us. Krishna, it's real in the sense that it does exist. It's not but it's not real. It's like like you go into some this what do you call those what do you call those for children, you take them into parks, theme parks, right? What are they called? Like water sports, or different things, just for so like that,
Theme
so
park.
like that, Krishna has created
Theme park.
Pardon?
Theme park, Mataji.
Theme parks, yeah. Theme parks for our entertainment. They're not real. Just for our entertainment for some time, to forget ourselves over there. So this material world has been created for our entertainment for some time. Adventure parks, yeah. So like that, this is how it seems very real, because Krishna has made it like that. Therefore, and only because of him do the material universes temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. So meditating upon Krishna, that is the purpose. Even the chant, Satyam Param Dhimahi, it says, because Dhimahi means I meditate. And in Gayatri Mantra also, is always, meditate on the Lord and then you will obtain him. So it starts like that we have to meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And completely, so this Srimad Bhagavatam is completely pure. It has rejected all other kinds of, karma, jnana, yoga, Mishra Bhakti, everything. And it only propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. So that is the criteria, to be really honest and sincere and to want Krishna. Those who don't want Krishna, they, even if they listen to Bhagavatam, they just want the story part. They don't want to know about Krishna, the supreme truth, and what are his, what is the Bhagavatam contains all about his glories, his powers, and how he creates, all of the knowledge. But they don't want to hear all that. Just tell us stories, and mainly they want to know about the last Krishna's pastime, especially Ras Leela. So that is not, then they won't understand. Only those devotees who are fully pure in heart. So purity means at least we want Krishna. We are not pure devotees in the sense that we are fully liberated. We are not, we may not be that. We're not that, but at least we want that. So we are considered pure devotees. And such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need for any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. So that is what, if you just hear to Srimad Bhagavatam, then it removes all miseries. And not only that, the Supreme Lord appears in our heart. So that's how glorious it is. Every page of Srimad Bhagavatam has Krishna. And by studying that, we'll come closer to Krishna. And then he's saying, oh, expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desired tree of Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sri Sukadeva Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. So when a parrot, it tastes a mango or of any other fruit, then it becomes sweeter. Like that, Shukadeva, we know, is a special parrot, a servitor of Srimati Radharani. And he was left behind after Radha and Krishna left to be here, to speak the Srimad Bhagavatam. So he was left behind. And then one day he was just flying around and he wanted to listen to Harikatha. And he was saying, where is Harikatha going on? And then finally what happened? He came to Kailas. They said, oh, Shiva is speaking about the glories of the Lord, pastimes of the Lord to Parvati Devi. So he was very happy and he went and sat on a tree and he was listening. So Shiva, he was absorbed, he was closing his eyes in deep meditation and he was glorifying the Lord. And at that time, what happened? Parvati, like us, somehow she went off to sleep. And Shiva was, talking. And then if he asked some questions or something, are you hearing or enjoying? And in her voice, Sukadeva Goswami said, very nice, very nice. Like that, whatever, like Parvati, he imitated. And so Shiva thought, oh, Parvati is listening. And he finished completely the entire Bhagavatam. He finished, Harikatha. And then what happened? He opens his eyes and he sees Parvati is sleeping. And then Parvati wakes up. Oh, what happened? What happened, my Lord? Please tell me. Said, you were not listening. You went to sleep. Then who was talking? In your voice, they were saying, then he looks around, he goes searching, and mango tree, he sees this Shuka sitting, a parrot, and he finds out the parrot, he asks, who was listening? He asked, who was listening to my Harikatha? So then the parrot says, I was listening. Then why did you, how can you listen without my permission like this? I was telling Parvati, and how did you come there? And then on top of that, you are impersonating her. So he takes the trident, he wants to kill the Shuka. So the Shuka starts flying, flying around, wanting to take shelter somewhere. And then he comes to Badrikashrama. And there, Vyasadeva, he is narrating about the Lord's glories to his wife. Her name is, starting with V, Vinati, no. Okay, so anyway, he's telling her Harikatha, and she's also yawning. So she's yawning widely, and so Sukha enters her mouth and goes and stays in her stomach, in her womb. And so then, of course, when he enters, then he becomes a human being. But he doesn't want to come out at all. We know that. And so Krishna, the parents, a mother, imagine for 16 years, she bore this child inside the womb. And it was getting very heavy. And then Krishna himself came and told and don't worry about Maya, because he somehow, now that, he's forgotten, he's taken another form in another birth. And so he was like an impersonalist, he was saying, there's so much Maya outside, I don't want to take birth and all that. So Krishna said, I am there, now you come out. So he comes out, but immediately after coming out, he just walks out from the home. And Vyasadeva is following him. Please, my dear son, please come. Don't leave us and go. There'll be some attachment, right? There's a son. And that time, only the trees and all the forest, they were echoing his sorrow. They were also feeling sad, but Sukadeva just disappeared inside the forest. So then Vyasadeva, what he did, he chose 2 hunters and he taught them this from Srimad Bhagavatam, glories of the Lord, some shlokas. He said that you all, you should sing it. You should keep singing it, because just like, hunters, when they want to catch deer, what do they say? They deer like music very much. So they play very nice music. Or to catch elephant, then what they do in a pit, they put a she elephant. So then the elephant is very eager to associate with the she elephant. Then he falls into the pit and then they catch. Like that, you put a trap. So the trap for a sadhu is to glorify the Lord, So they start singing very nice shlokas. And so Shukadeva comes out, oh, who taught you all this very nice shlokas and all that? So then they say, you follow us, we'll take you. And then they bring him back to Vyas. And we know afterwards what happens, that Krishna chooses Parikshit. Even though his job, still this person to hear the Srimad Bhagavatam. So all that Leela happened of, him putting a dead snake over a tree, and then his son Shringi, he heard about it and he cursed the son that within a week you should die and all that. So that is how the Srimad Bhagavatam is so exalted, that such a great personality like Shukadeva, he appeared to recite it, and such a great devotee like Parikshit, even the audience has to be very good. Only then, because if the audience is very, very eager to know about Krishna and keep asking nice questions, then only everything will come out. So that is why it's so, because of Shukadeva Goswami, Vedvyas had already spoken the Bhagavatam, but because of Sukadeva Goswami, it's become even more nectarian. So these sages, so they chose, it says that after Romaharshana was killed, then they requested his son, Suta Goswami, to be the person to tell them. And they also mentioned why they chose him. The sages said, respected Suta Goswami, you're completely free from all vice. You're well versed in all the scriptures as well, for you've gone through them under proper guidance and have also explained them. So he knows the scriptures inside out. That's one qualification, and he's free from all bad qualities. That's another, no weaknesses or anything. And thirdly, he's also elderly. So age also plays this thing. Being the eldest learned Vedantis, or Suta Goswami, you are acquainted with the knowledge of Vyasadeva, who's the incarnation of Godhead. So that knowledge is given by Vedavyas, and you also know other sages who are fully versed in all kinds of physical and metaphysical knowledge. So he also has a lot of association with Vyasadeva and other sages. So he is really learned like that. And because, most important, and because you're submissive, your spiritual masters have endowed you with all the favors bestowed upon a gentle disciple. Therefore, you can tell us all that you have scientifically learned from them. So it was not sentimentally that they just chose him, because he was qualified, all the reasons they say. And so please explain to us in an easily understandable way what you've ascertained to be the absolute and ultimate good for the people in general. So that is what they were very concerned, and they are going to ask these questions, which is very, very relevant. And the answers are also wonderful. So, okay, I will keep enough time for question and answers, but just a little bit of, just to understand how important it is. Then they are saying, oh, learned one, in this iron age of Kali, men have but short lives. They are very quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, always disturbed. And this is true. So they, in 1,000 years back only, they said this is how Kali Yuga people are. And then they says that there are so many varieties of scriptures, and there are so many different types of prescribed duties. And, and they're all in different various divisions. So please give the essence of all these scriptures and explain it for the good of all living beings, because there's so many scriptures. Because he is so learned, he can just take the essence and give it. That by such instruction, their hearts may be fully satisfied. So that is a wonderful thing. By reading Srimad Bhagavatam, our hearts will be completely satisfied. Otherwise, it's always, disturbed. Oh, I didn't have this. I don't have that. I need this. Oh, why did this happen to me? So many things. But reading Srimad Bhagavatam, we feel very satisfied. All blessings upon you, O Sutta Goswami. So the first question, for what purpose the personality of Godhead appeared in the womb of Devaki as the son of Vasudeva. So just now Krishna was there. They were contemporaries, and Krishna had come, and they wanted to know, he must be having, every avatar has got a purpose. So what is the purpose for Krishna's appearance? That they wanted to know. And please explain to, we are very eager to learn about the personality of Godhead and his incarnations. Please explain to us those teachings imparted by previous acharyas, for one is uplifted both by speaking them and by hearing them. So one is they wanted to know what is the purpose that Krishna appeared. Secondly, they wanted to know about Krishna and all his incarnations. Then, so he's saying living beings who are entangled in the complicated meshes of birth and death can be freed immediately by even unconsciously chanting the holy name of Krishna, personified. So he's saying that anyone who's taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord can at once sanctify those who come in touch with them. So by taking shelter of the Bhagavatas, there is the book Bhagavata and then the person. This is also Bhagavatam, and we also call Vaishnavas as Bhagavatas. So the Bhagavatas who have taken complete shelter of Krishna can immediately purify those who come in touch with them, whereas the waters of the Ganges can sanctify only after prolonged use. Keep on bathing in the Ganga, only you'll get purified, but a moment's association with a pure devotee can completely liberate us. So we want to know about, that also. Who is there during desiring deliverance from the vices of the age of quarrel, who is not willing to hear the virtuous glories of the Lord? The Lord means with his devotee. So they want to know about both. So we want to know about all his pastimes. His transcendental acts are magnificent and gracious, and great learned sages like Narada sing of them. Please, therefore, speak to us who are eager to hear about the adventures he performs in his various incarnations. Actually, we are so, generally all these, whatever happens in the material world, okay, devotees are not so much eager, but still we were like that everybody likes to hear about what's happening in this world, some katha, normally we are so interested in our own katha, our own leelas, they're discussing about it, but we should be so eager like these sages to hear about Krishna's katha, so wonderful. And because we want to know the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme God, its multi-incarnations, such auspicious adventures and pastimes of the Lord are performed by his internal powers. So what we hear in the material world is all external energy. Simply same, a birth, death, old age, disease. This is the katha we hear all the time. But this is transcendental. and it's under the internal potency, and it elevates us. It makes us very, feel full of spiritual energy. We never tire of hearing the transcendental pastimes of God, who's glorified by hymns and prayers. Those who have developed a taste for transcendental relationships with him relish hearing of his pastimes at every moment. So what is the qualification for, all the time hearing Bhagavatam and being engaged and listening to it? By this thing, who have developed a taste for transcendental relationships with him. When we understand that actually Krishna is a person and we have a relationship with him of master and servant, we are completely dependent on him and we need him at every moment. And when we have that relationship, then every moment we're not at all tired. Again and again we hear Srimad Bhagavatam. We don't think, oh, I already heard that story. We never tell that. Always we are listening and listening and listening, and we never get tired. So that is the glory of Krishna. Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of God, along with Balarama, played like a human being, and so he performed many superhuman acts. Okay, so and they're saying, knowing well that the age of Kali has already begun, we are assembled here in this holy place to hear great length the transcendental message. That is also a hear about the messages of God. Okay, that is so Bhagavad-Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing that itself is a sacrifice. And only when we perform sacrifice, we're going to be happy. And then he's saying, we think that we have met your goodness by the will of providence, just so that we may accept you as the captain of the ship for those who desire to cross the difficult ocean of Kali, which deteriorates all the good qualities. So eager to know. And these are the questions, about the Supreme Lord, his incarnations. And they also asked, what is that? The last question. Since Sri Krishna, the absolute truth, the master of all mystic powers, has departed for his own abode, please tell us to whom the religious principles have now gone for shelter. So Krishna has gone, so who's going to give us all this knowledge, the Dharma? Where do we seek this? Because Krishna is not here anymore. So then Sutta Goswami is so happy and he thanks them. He says that he takes first pays obeisances to Shukadeva Goswami, who can enter the hearts of all. So then he narrates about Sukadeva Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, and then also he takes shelter of Narana. We always say Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Naruttamam. So he takes shelter of Naranarayana Rishi, supermost human being, and unto Mother Saraswati and Vyasadeva. So, and he says that your questions which relate to Krishna are so much of relevance to the world's welfare, only knowing the self. So it is when we discuss all these things, it not only are we benefited, but the whole world is benefited. Because whatever these messages are here, this is what will really save the whole world. And then he says, the supreme occupation for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. So where are we taught this knowledge? Ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasidasi. Devotional service without any motivation. We are so used to having some fruit of desire, right? Anything right from the Lord, people go there, it's only for a purpose. Okay, when we do puja also, they'll say, see, I've got all these list of problems and desires. Will I get, if I chant, if I worship, will I get all this? Then only I will do. Or then always the fruits are the first thing they will ask. And that transpires even in our relationships. What happened? We try to become friends, or we are nice to people only when we want something. I mean, I'm not saying we are doing like that, but we have to watch out. Only through purification we won't do. We should just be without any motivation, unmotivated and uninterrupted. Then always, if we are serving the Lord always without any motivation, without any stoppage, that will satisfy. Then in all our dealings, in all our relationships, it will be very satisfying, because we are doing it only for the satisfaction of Krishna and not for our own material motives. By rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires costless knowledge and detachment from the world. So devotional service is glorified so much that, when we read this, then we become eager. Oh, I want to do devotional service. Otherwise, we'll think, oh, how many services? Too many services. I want a break. I want some holiday, we may think. But actually, see, just by rendering, actually, we should be very greedy. Please give me some service. Please give me some service. I know you all like to serve a lot, but I'm saying that you shouldn't ever think that this is too much. All the time I'm doing service. No, because simply by doing devotional service, one gets costless knowledge and detachment, jnana and vairagya. By doing bhakti, you get jnana and vairagya. You don't have to separately. Some people think, first, let me cultivate a lot of knowledge, and then only I can do bhakti. No, you don't require any qualification like that. You don't need knowledge. And even if you are a karmi and you're very attached, it doesn't matter. You start doing devotional service, automatically you'll get detachment from this world. So, and yes, the occupational activities a man performs according to his own position are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of this personality of Godhead. So even our jobs that we do is useless labor, saying unless by doing that job, we are attracted to hear about the message of the Lord, then how much we should work, we should do in karma yoga. And he's saying all occupational engagements are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gain. Furthermore, according to the sages, one who's engaged in the ultimate occupational service should never use material gain to cultivate sense gratification. So normally, Prabhupada says one should not engage himself in any sort of occupational service for material gain only, nor should material gain be utilized for sense gratification. How material gain should be utilized is described as follows. The same thing, Bhagavad-Gita also, Krishna says that how karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. You have a right to perform your duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits. That means sense gratification. And don't think that you are the cause of all that, and don't be lazy and all that. So, and he's saying life's desires should never be directed towards sense gratification. One should desire only a healthy life or self-preservation, since a human being is meant for inquiry about the absolute truth. Nothing else should be the goal of one's works. So, in the Varnashrama system, also the goal is Vishnu, but it's a slow process. It is like very less. It's there's they allow for a little karma kanda, and then gradually they take you towards bhakti. But there is pure devotional service, which is told by Srimad Bhagavatam. From the beginning, whatever work we do, we have to do it for the pleasure of Krishna. That is why it's so important to read the Bhagavad-Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Otherwise, we'll be like karma kandis. We do devotional service, but it is all with lot of material desires. Krishna, please solve all these material problems. Make me happy in this material way. We may be praying like that, and we may think, yeah, I'm a very nice devotee. Always, that is karma kanda. But pure devotional service means that because it is mentioned, Nectar of Devotion, that says that the minute you start doing pure devotional service, two things manifest. Kleshagni and Shubhada. That means all miseries go away and all auspicious things begin to happen. But that is when we start to do pure devotional service. That means in the beginning, we have a lot of anarthas. We have to pull out those anarthas. Then, so until we remove those anarthas, these miseries continue. It is reduced a lot, but a little bit, and then we think, oh, Krishna, I've been chanting for so long, doing so many things, still these problems. Why? Because Krishna is purifying us. For karmis, it's because of karma. But for us, Krishna is purifying us so that we come to the path of the point of doing nishta. We have to cross beyond anartha nivritti and come to the stage of nishta. Then our spiritual life will take off fast. Nishta means no disturbance at all. No more like anartha and everything, at that stage, so many, we get disturbed by different things. One day I'm in a mood, one day somebody speaks badly to me, I don't feel like doing, or like that, or we don't have a taste for a different thing. So that is all because of anarthas, and we have to pull them out. And that is why, so learn it transcendental. So when we know that the first step is, we have, Anyabilashita sunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhaktir uttamam. Bhaktir uchate. So we have to render that service without any other abhilasha. Then automatically all the problems will be solved. Now we think, no, first you solve my problems, Krishna, then I will do pure devotional service. We do bargaining with them, right? That you first solve my problems, then, but that becomes like karma kanda. Then, we have to purify our heart where we are surrendered to Krishna and we trust him. Okay, Krishna, the key to my everything, my very existence is in your hands. You do what you want. And we should have faith that Krishna, only thing we should ask is, please hasten it, no, remove all the anarthas fast. Then we'll have a very happy, auspicious life. So that is why we should only ask for that. And here Bhagavatam is also telling that we should work only for advancing in spiritual life, not thinking of sense gratification, how much more money I can earn, how much more things I can get. It's just the lust and greed. It just builds up that mode of passion and ignorance. So that is, then it keeps us more and more in ignorance. The act of why is suffering there? It's because of our sinful activities in our previous lives. And the four types of sins. One is manifested already, one is lying unmanifest, and then one is almost manifest, and one is lying as seed. All these things are there in the heart. And because of that, one after the other, we commit sinful activities in this life, for which we have to suffer in future. And because of our past sinful activities, we have to suffer now. So those can be removed easily. You don't have to suffer it if you do devotional service, starting with chanting. So that is why if we know that, then we should only concentrate on that. Let me do devotional service. Then automatically chanting and all that, it will remove all the, unfortunate, whatever miseries or difficulties we have is all because of that. And so scientifically, the Bhagavatam explains the nectar of devotion. Also, it says how we must concentrate on doing devotional service. Then automatically all these, good fortune will come. And so, so, O best among the twice born, it is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for one's own occupation according to caste divisions and orders of life is to please the personality of Godhead. That is the goal of everything, even our job, even our material jobs, is everything is to satisfy the Lord. Therefore, with one pointed attention, one should constantly hear about, glorify, remember, and worship the personality of Godhead, who is the protector of the devotees. So this is how we must, fill our lives. Our whole thought as we go about even doing our occupational duty is, even before we go to the job, is to do a wonderful morning program so that we chant very nicely and we hear all the nectar of Bhagavatam and Bhagavad-Gita, we fill our mind with that. Then imagine we'll be in transcendental consciousness. When we do the job also, everything will be in the internal energy. And so the job also will get done very nicely. You don't know how it's happening. Yeah, by Krishna's mercy, somehow everything happens very, very easily. And you're thinking of Krishna. Whenever there are problems, oh Krishna, please tell me what I should do. And then Krishna will give. He's the Paramatma. He is always helping us. We have to turn to him. That's all. Yeah, if we don't turn to him, then he doesn't speak. So if you turn to him, he's always ready to give solutions. So with sword in hand, intelligent men cut through the binding knots of reactionary work or karma by remembering the personality of Godhead. Therefore, who will not pay attention to his message? We can cut off the karma simply by thinking of him. So that is why it's so important to soak our consciousness with Krishna. O twice-born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vice, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the messages of O Krishna. So Vaishnava Seva especially is talking of the pure devotee, those devotees who are completely freed from all vice. So we should serve them. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So on the one hand, just by hearing it, we are benefited. And then while we are hearing it, Krishna is, like, in Gundicha Marjanam, Krishna is cleansing our heart. And so, then by regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who's praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So reading the Srimad Bhagavatam is so important. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Right? So every day we should read Bhagavatam, and then also serving the Lord, then all that is troublesome to the heart is completely destroyed. We never had all these psychology clinics and psychiatrist clinics and all in earlier times. There's no need, because here you just glorify the Lord. Everything that is troublesome to the heart is destroyed. There was no such need at all. But now in today's world, because people are not at all thinking about God, all problems, all funny problems, such complications. Every day it's so disgusting to read all the news. What kind of miseries people are going through. And all because we've forgotten God. And reading Bhagavatam is the solution to all the problems. As soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of nature's mode of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankering, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness and he becomes completely happy. So that is the secret. The mode of passion and ignorance are the cause of all, disturbing thoughts. Oh, I don't have this, and why they are having more, and why did he say like this? All kinds of disturbing thoughts. In goodness, we are so happy just serving Krishna. Thus established in the mode of unalloyed goodness, the man whose mind has been enlivened by contact with devotional service to the Lord gains positive scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. So that is what he becomes enlivened by contact with devotional service to the Lord. So that also we have to do pure devotional service, which is meant for Krishna's satisfaction. Then it is completely satisfying. There shouldn't be any other motive. I'm doing this so that, what to do, what are some reasons? If I do this, then I'll become very rich and happy. Then, then I'll be known as a very nice devotee. No other motivation. But simply for Krishna we should do. Thus the knot in the heart is pierced and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions is terminated when one sees the self as master. That is self-realization. That, no more this unnecessary attachments to some nonsense or the other, some sense gratification. There is Krishna, there is me, and I have a relationship with him. I'm a servant. And I I'm giving everything in whatever I'm doing, and he has given me everything. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat. Everything belongs to him, and he gives everyone according to their quota. So I'm very happy. Whatever you've given me, Krishna, and I am using that to serve him. That is what will make us completely happy. Transcendental, that is rendering devotional service to Krishna with great delight, because such devotional service is enlivening to the self. So that is what will keep us really happy always. And okay, then it tells about, okay, I won't So this is what he says, that occupational duties should never be done in a fruitive way, but we have to do it in such a way that we want to please the Lord. We want to do it for Krishna's satisfaction, and we get the results, whatever we are entitled to take care of ourselves. And whatever this thing, the other thing is that it says that whatever is extra should be used for the welfare of all. Where is it? Is the supreme goal of life, and okay, I cannot find that verse, but it is mentioned that we have to, whatever, I mean, whatever we utilize for our own maintenance and everything, and all that is extra, actually we have to spend it on welfare activities for all. So this is how, if we do, then there's no question of attachment, and we are always depending on Krishna. Money will come. See, in earlier times, nobody had bank and all that. Okay, there were some money lenders and all that, but nobody thought that we should keep on interest, and then it starts to grow, and then I have to keep on accumulating a lot of money, and then not only for this myself, but my children, and not only their children, but their their children, and all generations to come. People are so much fixated. They think that we are, unless I have a lot of money in the bank, who will take care of me? Prabhupada said, don't think that your job and all these industries and all that is taking care of you. It is Krishna who's taking care of you. Those may be just instruments. But when we understand that, when you read the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad-Gita, then you know for sure it is Krishna. Why I'm worried about anything at all? I'll just do this, and I'll keep praying to Krishna. I'll do my job. I'll do my duty. Then you'll be very happy. And the most important thing is a mode of passion and ignorance has to go away. All the anarthas have to be completely cleansed. Then only we can make spiritual progress. Otherwise, until then, we are still stuck on the Vaidhi Bhakti platform. And in order to go to Goloka Vrindavana, we have to come to the Raganuga platform. With Vaidhi Bhakti, we can go to Vaikunta. Suppose you do nice Vaidhi Bhakti. That means rules and regulations you're following, everything. Then, but you have not developed spontaneous love for Krishna, which is required to go to Goloka. Now, if you, so those who are only doing Vaidhi Bhakti and okay, they very sincerely did that, then they'll go only to Vaikunta. But from there, of course, you can go, if you're attracted further, there you get purified, you want to go, that is your original place, you will go, but then it's delayed. So, who's that sweet boy? So, Vivek Prabhu's son. So so that is why we have to quickly come out of this. And not only that, the most important thing is we'll really get happiness, and we'll be free from all the miseries, and all auspicious things will happen. And gradually we'll make more and more progress in spiritual life. So that is why reading is very important. Books, because all these books are a mine of information how to make progress. Take Nectar of Instruction. The 10 verses Rupa Goswami has said such wonderful things. First about our sadhana and how we should control the senses and how we should deal with Vaishnavas. What are the different types of Vaishnavas? And then about the holy names, how to chant nicely. And finally, the goal, which is to love for Radha. I mean, understand the loving dealings of Radha and Krishna. And Nectar of Devotion is telling us how to come from, follow all the regulative principles by which where sincerely we do that, then we progress to the next stage, which is Raganuga Bhakti. And then also about the loving mellows with Krishna and so on. So it gives higher understanding about how we have to make progress. And Upanishad is also talking about all the Lord. It's an Upanishad. It's the only Upanishad which is talking about Krishna as a person. So there is a lot of this thing. I mean, the verses are glorifying Krishna, what are his powers, and so on. So, and how he is the controller of everything, he's the owner of everything. So by reading all these scriptures, we come to know so much about the Lord. And Srimad Bhagavatam especially, it tells us about how the Lord is, he is just not one person. He expands himself into so many forms. And it's very complicated how he controls this entire creation, material creation, and spiritual world is so full of variety. Then we can understand, oh my God, my Lord is so wonderful and he's so unlimited. And why I'm trying to compete with him? I want to be like him. I want to be an enjoyer. I want to be a controller. I want to think I'm very great. I'm only doing everything. Why I'm trying to compete with him? Then we understand I'm so insignificant and I have to serve him. That is my glory. That is my natural thing, which comes very easily because that is our real self. And if we have to do materially enjoy in this world, we have to struggle so hard. But if you want to serve Krishna, all you have to do is desire. Then Krishna arranges all services. Easily it happens because that is our natural self. Then we can become very happy. We don't have to unnecessarily, uselessly endeavor for difficult things and then suffer in the bargain. So that is why we need to, in order to make our life very nice, to understand the purpose of life and we may understand it, but we may forget it. Constantly we are forgetting, right? Always the only austerity for us is always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So we keep forgetting. So that is why every day we have to read to remind ourselves, actually, I'm a servant. I'm not an enjoyer. Otherwise, quickly, the mind slips into that mode. And we start thinking in mundane things. We start thinking like all the karmis, and then we become hopeless and depressed, or we get angry and we get agitated. So many things. So we want to be free from that and be like, like a swan, which is going in the water without being, disturbed by anything like that. Okay, I'll stop now. So if there are anything that you would like to share, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much for emphasizing the importance of reading Srimad Bhagavatam. And, so devotees, you have any questions, please feel free to ask, maybe for another 10-15 minutes. Then the devotees who have realizations to share. So before that, anything related to today's class, you have any questions, you can ask that first. Hemant Prabhu has raised.
Hemant.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Mataji, just a quick question. When we read Srimad Bhagavatam, in what mood one should read this scripture, Mataji? Because sometimes we read just for the sake of reading, but obviously we need to dive deep, to concentrate, and to get the essence. We need a particular mood, isn't it, Mataji? So if you can just enlighten us on that, please? That would be grateful. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, very good question. Because if you just read like that, like you read other books or newspaper or something, you won't really understand Bhagavatam. Or you'll feel bored after some time, you'll feel sleepy. But we have to, in a very submissive mood, in a very humble mood, understand that this is Krishna himself. In that mood, we have to, approach Srimad Bhagavatam. Then it will become nectarian. We should understand that this is non-different from Krishna. And so, we have to read it in a very devotional mood. That's very essential. Then you will enjoy.
Thank you,
Is that
Mataji.
okay?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much. Mataji, just following on that, is there any particular
so after
time?
chanting, if you read, then you feel nice, right? You're in a proper mood, and you read, then it will make sense.
So again, Mataji, just another follow-up question. Do we have like specific time we need to read Srimad Bhagavatam, or we can read it anytime and anywhere?
Yes, of course, you can read anytime, anywhere. Just that Prabhupada made it that in the morning, because just to make it a routine, so that we read it first thing in the morning and the whole day we can reflect on it like that. But anytime you can read Srimad Bhagavatam.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat pranam, Mataji.
Dandavat pranam. Yes.
Mataji, I have a question. So normally, the devotees and, all our acharyas, they are saying Srimad Bhagavatam is called Amala Puran. It's the purest of all the Purans. But there are some non-devotees or even some devotees, they also, I came across this conversation many times. Out of all the 18 Purans, so obviously, they are saying, goddess has created the world, so she's the supreme. That's also pure. So how do we understand that, Amala Puran is the purest? The first 6 Puran is the purest, and out of that, Srimad Bhagavatam is the purest.
See, in all the other Puranas, they are for glorifying the different, because it is meant for also those who have faith, to improving the faith of those in the mode of passion, ignorance, like that. So normally those in the mode of ignorance and passion, they worship the Devatas. So in order to promote, their glories, that they are glorified. But even in those Puranas, somewhere it's always mentioned that Vishnu is the supreme. That also always comes through. But they don't want to hear that. But if they keep reading, then one day they will realize, oh, actually Vishnu is the supreme. Then they'll move to the higher Puranas. And because Srimad Bhagavatam is not talking of anything mundane at all. You see the difference. If you read the other Puranas and then read Bhagavatam, you'll see, and anybody who's read Bhagavatam, they'll have no taste for, okay, some stories here and there we like to listen because we want to know why some things happened like that. But other than that, it's so materialistic that a devotee who reads Bhagavatam will never enjoy reading that. Because here it's only glorifying Krishna and his devotional service. There are no materialistic activities. Of course, there are some things mentioned about one king, he married somebody, he had some children. All these things will be mentioned. But very, just enough just to know about it. But mainly it is concerned about pulling us out of this materialistic thought into devotional service of Krishna. So that is why it is considered topmost, because Vyasadeva had already written all the other Puranas and he was not satisfied because he had not glorified Krishna and talked about pure devotional service. So he himself is saying, Vedant, see, Vedavyas, he wrote all the Vedas, he divided it into 4 Upanishads, everything, and he also wrote Vedanta Sutra, which is the essence of Vedas in Sutra form, codes. Then also he was not satisfied because Vedanta Sutra was only indirectly telling everything. And that is why Narada Muni said, you have to write a commentary on Vedanta Sutra about the personality of Godhead, Krishna. And so The Srimad Bhagavatam is a commentary on Vedanta Sutra, which is the cream of all Vedic knowledge and Puranas. So you can imagine what a topmost scripture it is. The Puranas were already written, other Puranas, but he was not satisfied. Only when he wrote a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, then he was completely satisfied. So we can know that that is the topmost.
Yes, Mataji. Thanks a lot, Mataji.
Anyone has any questions on today's topic? So if not, then there are few devotees, Mataji, who want to share their experiences and also some questions. So we can request them to come on board. Deepa Datri Mataji, are you there?
Just before this thing, also please read Chaitanya Charitamrita also, and especially the abridged version. I mean, if you Chaitanya Charitamrita is too vast, you read that at least, and Gauranga book and all that, because that will give special juice and taste for, you know, devotion and all that. And we need to, and just by meditating on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, our devotional life will become very easy and full of nectar. So don't forget that also. Please read that also. Yeah.
Deepa Datri Mataji, yes. Thank you, Mataji, for reminding us about Chaitanya Charitamrita. Thank you. Yes, Deepa.
What did you say?
Thank you for reminding us about Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yes, Mataji, Deepa Datri Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah, please accept humble obeisance.
Thank you so much for the amazing class today, Mataji. It was super nectarian. So I'm just going to quickly share my experience in Krishna consciousness. For me personally, it's been a huge roller coaster ride. So there's troughs and peaks, ups and downs. Every day is different experience in Krishna consciousness. Like you mentioned earlier, it's a daily battle between, between myself and the three folds of miseries. And it's just overcoming those with the associations of devotees and like you said, reading shastras and stuff. And also sometimes I feel a lot of the time due to our material problems, it overshadows our enthusiasm for service, and which is another a big challenge. So Arvinda Krishna Prabhu and Yamuneshwar Mataji kindly advised me there's ways in which I can tackle those challenges. So they also advised me that I should study Srimad Bhagavatam. So I started doing the Bhakti Vaibhav course with Mayapur, and this course has been so amazing, Mataji. Like we just don't read, but actually studying Srimad Bhagavatam, doing the assignments and discussing every sloka by sloka, been so energetic for me. And also, like a lot of the time, because a lot of the time we're surrounded by all this negativity, so sometimes I used to feel like I was drowning in this negativity, but this course has helped me become positive. So, and through the course and the associations of devotee, I feel enthusiastic again in my service. So literally, this courses I'm doing, the studies and the association of devotees has kept me going and kept me positive and enthusiastic, Mataji. So that's my personal experience.
Haribol, thank you very much for sharing that. Yes, that's what will give the happiness, and it will remove all the karmas. And it is the positive thing. Yeah, the positive thing is all these things are only to bring us closer to Krishna. So that is what is happening in your life. So you are actually very blessed.
Oh no, Mataji, it's because I have a wonderful mentor like Yamuneshwar Mataji and Arvinda Krishna Prabhu, and your association, Mataji, and the association of our lovely East London Bhakti Vriksha devotees, Mataji, that I try and remain enthusiastic in my service. Please pray for us, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Deepadati Mataji. Vishweshwaran Prabhu, you are there?
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yeah, I'm here.
You can share.
Thanks. Dandavas pranams, Mataji. Hare Krishna. I think we had the blessing to meet you a couple of times when you were in London. And definitely it is very inspiring always to listen to you, all the sessions that we go through this training part, as well as all the talks. In fact, today was really great. How quickly you covered the entire Bhagavatam, how it started. In fact, I was not very much aware of Shukadev's birth and other things, but it's really inspiring to learn many things. So what I would do is, in the last 10 years, we have been part of this, or 12 years rather, since the Bhakti Vriksha started. But last 2-3 years, I've been associated with doing the Bhakti Vriksha for children. So firstly, I learn a lot from this, because even before the children learn, I think when I repeatedly go back and forth, I learn a lot. And again, thanks to all, like Deepadati Mataji said, all the East London devotees with Arvind Prabhu, Yamneshwari Mataji, Yogesh Prabhu, and Tanushri Mataji, Rishi Lakshmi Mataji, they all motivated me to do this. And I'm really glad that I started doing it. In fact, initial days were quite difficult because children were on and off. They were not joining regularly. And it was really getting difficult to get them motivated to join. But again, the presentations which I used to share before were not, it was very informative, but unfortunately it was not triggering that interest among the children. So then I thought something different we have to do. So I started off with quiz for children. So what I did is we'll do an open quiz. So children can do Google research and then immediately answer within 30 seconds or something. And then we created some apps to do that. And that got some of them interested. So we regularly, now at the moment, 8 to 10 students regularly join, and they are very enthusiastic to join the sessions and make sure that they chase me. And some of them express that they don't have enough time on the session days when I run on Fridays. Then I said, okay, I'll run another session for them on Sundays, whoever cannot do it. So I use now currently the last 4-5 months, I'm doing 2 sessions with the same content. And also we have included few more things because to children, we need to behave like children. That's what I understood. If I go as an adult and then start preaching, it's not going to help. And immediately they get switched off or they don't join or they don't do, or they start doing something else on the laptop. So I stopped talking a lot. I made them speak a lot. I told them that, okay, you guys have to come and present to me. And you also need to do something like videos and treasure hunt. What I do in treasure hunt is we go into ISKCON Desire Tree or Veda base and then give a topic, ask them to search it. So that gets them familiar with the subject and topics and the contents. And then I used to ask them to come with some kind of stories, Dhruva Maharaj story or Prahlad Maharaj story, do a kind of video, because these children like the TikTok kind of doing it. So they do a self video and then they come and present it. So I think that is definitely keeping a lot of children interested now. And though the children are in a very sensitive age, very critical age of 10 to 12, to get them attached to this is very important. Rather than doing the normal preaching, I try to adapt these things. 1 week I do chanting, the other week I do pranama mantras, other week I do the Bhagavad-Gita shlokas. Like that, keep rotating things so that they are always enthusiastic. I think these are the key points, but still I am less than 50% attendance. We're trying to get more, trying to reach them personally and see how best we can get their attention. So that's my realization, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful, very nice, innovative things. Yeah, when they reach, when they're reaching teenage, we have to be engaging them, and yeah, very nice. You made it very interactive, and they like to do things, right? They like.
Yeah. When you make it, engaging, simple, interactive, and no homeworks, no things to do offline. If they can be more concentrated in the 30-60 minutes, I think that is good for them at the moment. And obviously they will get, because some of their parents are also in Krishna consciousness. So they do get into other sessions also. So maybe one thing which we can reduce is, because we bombard them with a lot of summer sessions, winter sessions, Easter sessions. probably we may have to reduce that, because once you start bombarding them, then they feel that too much is being thrusted upon them. So probably if we just stick to the regular schedule, I think that should be good enough.
This is Zoom online sessions, right?
Online sessions, Mataji. At the minute, it's
Okay.
all online, and there are children from various locations, because I don't think they'll be able to travel that far as well. But what I see is, even before I join, they join the session and they're ready. So that's the most interesting part I can see, whoever joins regularly. And there are 50% who don't join, but some of them have some reasons. They prepare for exams, or they are busy with something else, or sports or something. So we just need to find a better way to get them in.
Very nice. I think you'll become addicted to children's teaching children only. You don't want adults because of all their excuses. Children are much better, no, to teach.
Yes, yes,
Very
it's
nice.
much better. It's very engaging, and they come with very genuine thoughts and very creative ideas, and their way of understanding is very different to how adults. Because adults, we get lost into some other thoughts, but children, when they are in it, they are in it. They don't think anything else.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. That was very interesting.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, that you are asking quiz and all that, and that you're making it like, you know, that they can go into the net and find out the answers themselves, right?
Yeah.
Very nice.
So just in the session itself, we do that.
They can even.
Yeah, during the session itself, we do it. We go into ISKCON design tree and then ask them to search some keywords, key characters, and then ask them to read it. So I just don't leave it there. Ask them to read that paragraph so that they understand that, and then they come back and talk about it. So these children, they are really enthusiastic. They are quick learners, and even the Sanskrit pronunciations, they are doing very well. Once you just need to do 3-4 times and they get it. And the advantage for me is I have Yogesh Prabhu's daughter, Shruti, is there, who is very knowledgeable and who presents very well. And my daughter also gets along with her because both are in the same class. So they both motivate the rest of the members as well.
Very good. Very nice. Shruti has got a nice name, I mean, correct name, right? She's full of knowledge of Shruti.
Yes.
Nice. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Rasaraj, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so
Hare
much for
Krishna.
taking your time and giving your association. It was a nectarian class. It's always a pleasure to listen to you. So more than realization, I would need your help with. I have a question regarding services, Mataji. So you during
what?
Services, yeah.
Uh-huh.
During your class also, like you mentioned about, we should be greedy for service and we should be performing devotional service that will help us in detachment and all those. So Mataji, the key challenge that I'm facing personally is I'm happy to take up services. We go other devotees' houses, we do service, temple service, all are going fine. But when it comes to within the deity service within my house, meaning I'm pretty finding it a little hard to follow the same kind of standards that I'm ready to follow in outside, but a similar thing when I had to do it amongst my meaning between my work and other things. I'm finding it a little difficult, Mataji. Like what I should be doing to see like I'll be able to follow a similar standards in others other devotees' house. Yeah, when they instruct me, I'm happy to follow those instructions. But the same thing when my wife tells like, okay, that is like sometimes like I'm not sure how to put it, but I'm finding it challenge to, or my ego comes in, why I should listen to her, like she's always complaining, all those. So those kind of thoughts coming in, that is definitely impacting my personal services. We have recently got few months back, like the deities also, Gauranidai deities, we have started worshipping them. But definitely struggling to serve them in a proper mood. So that is becoming a challenge that is impacting my personal sadhana. And when our personal sadhana is impacted, all other things gets impacted. So that is reflecting in my BV service, on other services as well, Mataji. So any help
Are
that
you doing deity service every day? Are you doing aartis and all for the deities?
yes, Mataji, we are doing at least
No,
one
not
hour.
me. You.
At least
Are
one
you
aarti
doing?
I do. At least one aarti I
Okay.
do, Mataji. So we share by the morning. If Anu, my wife does, like evening, I do. So we just do it that way, Mataji. But
Okay, that is. But you don't want to cooperate with her. I mean, if she says something, requests you, you don't feel like following, right?
Yeah, meaning it's not about don't want to, but yeah, definitely any suggestions which can improve the cooperation between us, anything that we can follow, yeah, please advise us, Mataji. So I'll definitely try to improve in that aspect.
Yeah, definitely. Since you want to improve, you'll definitely improve. Most people don't want to improve socially, but you've recognized what is the difficulty. So you just try that. I mean, you can have a discussion. You know, because you want to please Krishna, right? So in the material concept, you know, then all this ego will come. Why she should tell me and all these sort of things. But if you want to serve Krishna together, and you're very fortunate that your wife is also a devotee. How many people get that whole, both husband and wife are devotees, right? You can do 200% to Krishna because both of you are devotees. And I mean, if you mean if she suggests something which can be better, then you don't like to listen to that?
Meaning I have kind of some kind of arguments or counter arguments for almost most of the suggestions that comes through, Mataji. So that,
but
I don't know, like
objectively you find that those suggestions are good, but you don't want to admit to her. Is it that?
On that particular, definitely few of it I can definitely do it, but on that particular spot when something comes in, I don't know, like, so I'm not able to follow immediately, maybe or maybe I'm not sure, Mataji, how to put it in words, but yeah, so that could be it, Mataji. When I'm realizing that, yeah, my personal ego is coming in front, which is stopping me from doing it. I don't know a way to overcome that, Mataji.
So okay, initially, because the ego is very strong, you have to pray to Lord Sankarsana and Lord Shiva, please remove my ahankar. You know, that is the cause of all suffering. Then I mean, because ahankar, if you have ego, you cannot love, right? Isn't it? So this love, I mean, you know, if you understand that both of you are together serving Krishna, and it can be so nice if you both discuss and share, and you know, that is the communication. That is real love. Actually, in this material world, there's no real love. It is all about, you know, each one wanting to get something out of the other person, a love, I mean, a lust or whatever. But when we do devotional service together in the mood of service and cooperation, that is real love. So this ego is coming between your love, isn't it? But, I mean, yes, you'll feel very, very nice if you can have that kind of deep understanding. But definitely, I see a lot of positive things because you are at least admitting openly that you most men don't like to even admit that they have a problem, that they won't listen to their wives. They don't even admit it, but you are admitting, and you're saying that you want to improve. Definitely Krishna will help you. So you just think that how to please Krishna better, and you know, see that she also is a devotee of Krishna, because if you think she is my wife, you know, you feel possessive. Why she should tell me? I am the one who has to tell her. She should not tell me, right? That Swami, that kind of attitude comes. But if you are instead thinking that I'm also a devotee, she is also a devotee, And maybe she also gets, if you don't have any hang-ups about that, about taking her this thing, life will be so simple and so pleasant. Unless she's trying to boss over you or something, that's a different thing. But if she's just telling you some suggestions, I think we should do like this will be better. So why can't it come from her? Isn't it?
Yeah.
And she may be, in fact, okay, if you take it like that, then it'll be, your relationship will also become much more, purer, on the more deeper level. Not just based on your mind. Mind is full of false ego. I said, you said, who, why you should tell, you are dominating, I'm dominating. These things will go away. That is useless. So real love is, so if you, you pray to the Lord that please remove this, false ego. It's horrible. You can't connect with people if you have false ego, isn't it?
Yes.
You're always trying to establish, and we pretend and all that. Hypocrisy, all that is this thing, symptom of false ego. And how much love you can experience, isn't it? If that goes away, genuine love you can experience. So you really pray to the Lord and you try your best that even immediately you don't take her suggestions, but you think in your mind, yeah, what she said, okay, it seems okay. If it's okay, then you say, okay, let's do like that. Even immediately you don't agree because of your false ego, but you go over it in your mind and you think at face value what she said, not because she said it. What she said, does it make sense? And then, okay, let's do it like that in a detached way. It doesn't matter who said it, isn't it?
Yes.
You are afraid that she'll become proud. If you start listening to her, she'll become proud and she'll start bossing over you. That is the fear, right?
Meaning, I don't know what that's about. Meaning, I don't have such fears or anything. I don't know the reason. I'm struggling to find out why I'm behaving in that way, or why I'm not able to follow. Particularly,
yeah. See, people are afraid because they are afraid that people, if you just listen to everything they say, then they will get the upper hand and start controlling you, or start feeling they're superior to you. This is the fear. Maybe you cannot objectively see when it's our own thing now. We cannot see it very detachedly or objectively, but actually it is that. This is the same psychology in everyone. For a woman, it comes. Krishna has made it like that the man has got ego and he wants the woman to listen to what he says. But too much, if you're attached to that ego, okay, that is a material thing. But okay, so naturally the woman, the wife, she listens and she's submissive. That is all there. But when you're serving Krishna, if you just think wife, husband, then it's on the material platform. So she can also say, and then, so you see Rama and Sita. Rama told Sita that you can also tell me if I go, you can also, like, if you think I'm not doing something proper, you can also correct me. He said that. And in fact, when he was carrying the bow, in the Dandakaranya, so Sita was saying, why you're carrying all the bow? You're not supposed to be a Kshatriya, right? We have come as a mendicant. We have renounced those 14 years. We are not supposed to take the bow and all that. Why you are always carrying the bow? So then Rama says that, no, actually I'm acting like a servant of Bharata. He's the king of this whole country. And I am acting to safeguard, from demons and all that. I'm giving protection as his servant. So like that, she also questions. And he didn't say, well, you don't ask me. You don't know anything. Keep quiet. He didn't say that. Right? So he respected her views. So that is actually greatness. Rama set the example. He treated her with a lot of respect. So that comes from the spiritual platform.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mataji. I'll try to follow your instructions, and do please pray for me as well, Mataji. So of you and all the Vaishnavas here. So I would seek your blessings and prayers so that I come over this anartha and I'll be able to serve better. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you. Maybe we need a separate session for all Prabhus and Matajis for East London another time. I think then many things can get clarified. Yes, okay. So Ramapriya Prabhu would like to share.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranam Pranam. Yeah, thank you Mataji for association once in a month. Yeah, and Srimad Bhagavatam class today, it was really wonderful, especially you explained that the whole essence in second chapter, all the verses. Yeah, thank you very much, Mataji. Mataji, we have one problem. I don't know, it's a real hope. I mean, it's a general question. Probably it's regarding preaching. You know, here I live in Dartford, which is near to East London. It's part of Kent. In this area, recently, when we are trying to do some outreaches, we found there are in UK, there are two types of temples. Some are big temples, like, we don't go there and preach and all. Generally, we don't distribute books. But there are so many in each and every area, small temples, Mataji. They were established like in 80s, 90s, like that. And they don't have anybody maintaining. Not many people are active on maintaining. But
what
whenever
temples?
we visit, yeah.
Devata temples.
Yes, Mataji. I mean,
okay.
Here they have deities of all, like, Ganesh and Krishna, also sometimes Lord Ramchandra, Shiva, like that.
Okay.
So when we visited recently a few temples, 2 or 3 in our nearby areas. So what we found was they know about ISKCON. They are very much happy to, okay, they all welcome you. Please come and do here and do some classes and all. But the thing is, there are different in the temples. People are doing different worships and all. I mean, what we should be, we don't know again. I mean, we found sometimes they don't just like, you take all as people and to Krishna kindness and all, like they may feel a little bit insecure, but at the same time, they have a feeling that, okay, nobody is coming to the temple, and our younger generations also, someone should come and say something, classes, preaching, like that. They have these kind of things as well in their mind. And at the same time, they may have some little bit insecurities. Oh, they may take our people and all like that. So in these kind of situations, what we should aspire and what should be our objectives when we want to preach them and go and approach them and to give them, at least what should be objectives and what should be what we should aspire to give them something. Like there are so many temples out there, like in UK, like that in different areas.
So that's what, see, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also went to so many of these Devi Devata temples. And what he did was he just made them chant Hare Krishna. He was dancing in front of the Devi Devatas, Shiva, Parvati, or Murugan, whatever. He was dancing and singing Hare Krishna. And he made all of them chant Hare Krishna mantra. So we don't try to tell them that, stop worshipping that. Now you must only worship Krishna. We don't say like that, because it's very difficult. No, suddenly they have got some faith in them. So you have to introduce, just add the Hare Krishna mantra. You can say, okay, keep Gaur Nitai photo, because they are the Yuga Avataras. They are you, whatever worship you're doing, you do. But you add this. Okay, so then Krishna will take care. Hare Krishna mantra is very powerful, right? Then if they're chanting and all that, then gradually you can also ask them, would you like to come to our Bhagavad-Gita class? Bhagavad-Gita is common to all the Hindus. Yeah. So you can say, come to our Bhagavad-Gita class. Like that, don't touch upon who's the supreme person by your worshiping. No, that you don't do. You add Hare Krishna mantra into their lives and put Gaur Nitai photo in their hands. And they won't mind, because it is Krishna that they think, oh, why Krishna? I am already worshipping Murugan, they'll say. Okay, but if you give Gaur Nitai, they don't mind because they are not competing with all those other devatas.
Okay.
Right? So you can say this is the Yuga Avatar. He just came 500 years ago and it's all auspicious. It's God himself who's come as a devotee and to this thing. And it's all given in the Shastras. You show some quotations, how is predicted that God will come as his devotee. Then they will accept. And we're not telling you don't do that, don't do that. No, you do whatever you're doing, add this.
Okay. Yes, Mataji. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mataji. So, I mean, so when we are giving, then let's say, for example, we are doing like 18 days Bhagavad-Gita courses like that. When we do, particularly for some community, some temple. So then in Gita, all the statements like, about Krishna is like, he's Supreme Lord and all Krishna's statements. So then how can we present Mataji?
And yeah, but you're speaking from the Gita. So you're not inventing, right? Then they'll be forced to listen. If you are telling Krishna is the supreme person, there's that, they'll say, why you're saying it, why I should listen to you. They'll think that, okay, you're saying, I'll say Shiva is supreme. So they'll have some, debate like that. But then if you just say, this is what Gita is saying, Krishna is saying, and Gita, nobody will dare to oppose. Right? All Hindus, they cannot dare to say Gita is wrong.
Okay.
So, and you choose those verses which will not, immediately tell them like, that sometimes, Prabhupada says all demigods. Don't use the word demigod and all that. Because demigod is fine, but Guru Maharaj also, he says, in India, I always use the word Devata. Devas. Devas is okay. They think it's very respectful, but we see demigod means something less than God. So they feel, a little this thing. But if you say Devata with great respect, and you should show a lot of respect to them. And you say that I have greatest of respects for all whoever there, Ganesha or Shiva, they're all wonderful. They also have great responsibilities and, to elevate us. So once they see that you're very respectful to the Devatas, then they'll trust you and they'll be ready to listen to whatever you're saying. But you be careful that initially, sometimes Prabhupada says, he has to speak the truth. So he says that there are those who worship the Devatas, demigods are less intelligent, foolish and all that. Then if you read that, then they'll get very disturbed. So in the beginning, you say some things like, about the second chapter, it's all about the soul and those sort of things. Or about, third chapter, Karma Yoga, those sort of things, transcendental knowledge and all that, and try to avoid those things initially so that they don't get disturbed.
Okay, Mataji. Yeah, thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Mataji, just seeing the time. So, but yeah, there are many devotees are also having questions. Maybe the next time we can take it if it is okay. And one question, Mataji, and also there is one devotee's birthday, so you can give blessings. Coming Monday here is Advaita Acharya's appearance day. So please kindly guide us what prayers we can offer to Advaita Acharya on the auspicious day to get his blessing. So what seva or how we can please him on his appearance day, Mataji.
Maybe you can read from the Chaitanya Charitamrita in the Adi Leela. There is a description about the Advaita Acharya, the Tattva. You can read that. Okay. So to understand them more. Yeah. And maybe some pastime with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like that. Those you can see.
Okay. And you also mentioned, I remember a few last class and the previous class, Advaita Acharya is also Lord Shiva. So we can pray to him to, remove this false ego.
False ego has to go. Yeah. Yeah, that goes, only life will be happy. Otherwise, it's Terrible. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Can take shelter for that.
Thank you, Mataji. So this is the first time Panchatattva Panchatattva are there. So we are planning this Advaita Acharya appearance day to do an Abhishek for Advaita Acharya. So, and also, as you said, the pastimes we can share. So please.
Very nice. You're having a live, offline program?
Zoom program, Mataji.
Zoom program. Okay. Very nice.
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah.
And we have here Dilip Prabhu. Today is his birthday, so if Prabhu is there, he can get blessings from Mataji. Are you there, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat Pranams. Wonderful class on
Dandavat
Srimad
Pranam.
Bhagavatam. Thank you.
Is it possible to see you, Prabhu?
Are
you outside? Then it's okay.
I'm not outside, Mataji. I'm here.
Hare Krishna.
Ramapriya Prabhu can introduce Dilip Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna, devotees. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dilip Prabhu has, Prabhu he just joined in 1.5 years ago with Krishna consciousness. And from the day one, he's like, we found like he's already looking for Krishna consciousness. There's nothing much effort we have to put to bring him. He just connected just like that and started from within 1 month. He started 16 round chanting and he's very attached to chanting Hare Krishna. He chants every day at morning. He wake up at 4:30 without any, missing days. And he has a lot of faith on Prabhupada's books. And he's always ready for any service whenever we call, anytime. And Prabhu is serving in digital services, Mataji. He has got digital services.
The IT, technical things and all. He's helping out. There is a team, digital team. Prabhu is serving.
Digital team, Mataji.
Okay.
So he's very sincere, and from the day one. I think we are very fortunate to have his association. So here, Prabhu's association, Mataji. So please bless him, Mataji.
Very bold. Today is his birthday, right? Shall we sing?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna to you.
Hare Krishna to you.
Hare Krishna, dear Dilip Prabhu. Hare Krishna
to you. Hare Krishna bless you, dear. Hare Krishna bless you, dear.
May Krishna bless you, dear Prabhu. Hare Krishna to you. Do you all sing something else?
Same, Mataji.
Same, no? Okay.
Yeah.
So we wish Dilip Prabhu all the best. I hope all the blessings of Guru and Gauranga are upon you so that you can make wonderful progress. And all may your life be very, very successful in all ways. And most important is that you should get the perfection of life and go back to Godhead. That's the most important thing. So for you and your family.
Thank you, Mataji. I am very fortunate to be able to associate with the devotees here in East London and Ramapriya Mother Blessed. I'm not actually worthy, so please pray for me that I may develop some sincerity and some faith. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for your wonderful association. It's always, we feel so enlivened when you come. It like a battery gets charged. We feel very enthused and enlivened in our Krishna consciousness. And your prayers and blessings are really helping us, to perform some service for Srila Prabhupada. So thank you, Mataji. Please keep us in your prayers always and your blessings. Thank you, and we look forward to get your association soon. Thank you.
I also enjoy all your association very much. It's such a pleasure because you're all so sincere and wonderful. It's so nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Our great Premapadmini Mataji ki
Jai.
Haribol.
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 Haribol. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.